Good morning. Today we're going to be looking at the rear brake system on a Mk4 Golf. These models run from 1998 through to 2004. This particular one is fitted with disc brakes on the rear, so it doesn't have drums. I'm going to show you various things about it. So we'll show you how to change the pads, the disc, how to get to the wheel bearing, how to change the caliper if you need it. The Mk4 is fairly notorious for seizing up rear calipers, so we'll look at the bits around that as well, and some of the tools you're going to need to do the job as well. So the first thing we're going to do with this, as you see, I've taken the wheel off already. I keep this one in fairly good order, so it's already greased up around here, and it's always good to grease up the wheel bolts as they go back. I tend to use copper grease for this, and we'll be using quite a bit of copper grease as we go through this as well. I've already loosened off quite a few of my bolts and stuff, so yours will be slightly tighter at a rough idea, and clean mine up slightly as well. So first off, wire brush just all over this, clean off as much of the rubbish as you can. The bolts we're looking at is going to be this one just here, which is a 13mm, and you'll need a 15mm spanner on this side to hold it, and the same on the bottom part here and here as well. So what we're going to do, so that will be the first part, and that will take off the caliper. So the tools I use, 13mm socket and a 15mm spanner. Now the 15mm has to be quite thin to fit into this gap just here. So once it's undone, simply undo the bolts, so which I'm just going to quickly do now. See, mine already pre-loosened, just so I can show you the video. So we'll just take those out of there. And then what you can do now, you'll probably have to prise this off with a screwdriver, in which case into the top here and just prise off backwards. Mine's just going to fall off like so. So there's the caliper out of the way, and what we can see now is where the brake pads sit next to the disc. So simply grab hold of those, take these out. So there's number one, and the back one just here, number two. And most importantly is these little gizmos just here. These are your pad runners. Okay, so now yours, again, I've kind of wiped over mine, so yours will probably be black. So again, with a wire brush, just clean these up. So there's one here and one on the top, and voila. So you're now in place where, if you were simply changing the pads on the car via a quick rewind on the piston here, you can now slot them into this gap. Other good measures, these things here are the pistons. So there's one at the top, one at the bottom. Now it's a good idea, the same as what I'll do with these, is simply take them out, so pop them off like so. It's just a rubber seal, and there's the piston. Now don't get muddled up, because they're probably a different size from top to bottom. You see mine have all been lovely and greased. So just a thin smear just stops them from seizing up really, and then pop them back in the hole. And then to clip it back in, if just wait for this to zoom in, you simply click and it pops back on again. And the same with the bottom one as well. So again, pop it, see mine's all been lovely and greased, and click it back in. Now if yours are really tight coming out, make sure you give them a good clean up first, before you pop them back in. I'd always recommend using brake cleaner and a wire brush for this job, just so you can get all the rubbish out from all of these individual places. Okay, so now our brakes are out. The next job is actually to rewind this. That is the terminology for it. So basically the piston needs to go back inside the caliper. Now to do this on a Mk4, you have to literally rewind them, and you will need a tool for that. Now I'm guessing you could probably make up your own tool. My kit is a very old Granger kit now, and it has a left and right rewind. So quite simply, you pop these on here, and screw them up, and it turns and then winds the piston back in. Now with mine, I had a seized up handbrake, so I'm not going to worry about that today, but that is simply how you would do that job. So in reverse, putting everything back together, so little metal clips. Now they push on either side like this, and then clip into place, and then the one back into the top. So just under here. So again, you want to give this a proper good clean up with a wire brush before you pop all these back together, and then click those back in there. And then the pads simply, if I just zoom out a bit, can then pop straight back. Whoops, my caliper hasn't fallen apart, but they can pop back in one each side. Okay, now if you were taking this a step further and you wanted to change the disc as well, in the front of the disc here, where is it, just here, you have a Phillips screw. You'll need to remove that, and then the caliper runner just here will also need to be removed, and you do that by the 2 bolts at the back. So just here is the first one, not sure if you can see that, and there's one at the bottom. That will then take this part off. The disc can then come out as well. Again, if you wanted to change the wheel bearing, you would take this off, and the wheel bearing then sits behind this as well. So it's quite an easy job. If you've got the right tools, I'd always recommend getting a rewind tool anyway. But quite simply, everything bolts together, so you can put a new bearing on, new brake on, new disc on, second-hand caliper if you wanted, and away you go. So changing the caliper, how would you do that? Well, first off, you have this bolt in the top here, 13mm. It's a banjo style bolt, which is connected, as you can see here, along to the brake pipe. Now as soon as you disconnect this, fluid will start coming out. Okay, so the first part around the side here would be the handbrake cable. So take off the handbrake cable, undo this, take this off, and the caliper will be off. You can then pop your new caliper on, again back on with this, do this up, and then connect up your handbrake. Now if you are changing the caliper, obviously you're going to need to bleed the brakes, and here's your bleed nipple just here. So you take the cover off. Oh my, this one is proper stiff, but you take the cover off like so to reveal the bleed nipple, and then undo it slightly. Then obviously use somebody inside the car, make sure the car's got plenty of brake fluid, and then bleed it through. So I hope that helps, and that is the rear braking system on a Golf. Quite a simple job really, shouldn't take too long, but you will need the correct tools to do the job. Okay, bye bye.